January 7th, 2021. It's a chilly morning out here in Maricopa, Arizona, along Union Pacific's Gila subdivision, a part of the Sunset Route running between El Paso, Texas and Los Angeles, California. I was out here visiting family mainly, but managed to snag a few hours by the tracks, with the help of my aunt. We arrived around 7 a.m. local time, having just missed Amtrak's Sunset Limited train by about 20 minutes. After Amtrak, there was absolutely nothing. 4 hours. We sat and waited at the Amtrak station as the sun rose, seeing a clear signal lined on track 2. But maintenance crews were working on that track to the east, so that rules that out. We sat in the car until I heard the sound of screaming engines coming towards us. 10:45 a.m., quick enough to only grab my iPhone. UP7165 leads a hot Mesquite, Texas to Los Angeles, California Z train down track 1 at 70 miles an hour. Now that we know the railroad wasn't completely dead, things started heating up. No pun intended. 30 minutes pass, and here came another train down track 1 in the distance. I was ready for it this time. Being one raised in the southeast, it amazes me how flat it is out here and how far you can see in one direction. This was another hot Z train with UP AC44CW 6594 at the lead, and a friendly crew giving off a little horn show. Just listen to these screaming GEs. Signals then light up for an eastbound movement, but another westbound beat them to the punch, moving at 70 miles an hour with another UP AC44CW leader. This was train ISIL-B2, intermodal out of Santa Teresa, New Mexico to Long Beach, California. They had stopped to work at Tucson earlier, and is now heading to Mira Loma, California before reaching its final destination. nearby defect detector goes off to the west as the eastbound came into Maricopa less than 5 minutes later. It was almost a head-on meet here at the station. This was an Autorack train out of Mira Loma heading for El Paso to be handed off to the Ferromex Railway. They too had the throttle wide open, and yet another AC-44CW leader. Four trains at 70. I'll take it. Now, being we were out here in the desert, I wanted to get something where it looked like we were in the middle of nowhere. That was easily arranged as we drove out into the Sonoran Desert just west of Maricopa. We pulled off on the side of the road, finding a monster intermodal train climbing the grade heading east. UP 8708 leads the ILB-SP from Long Beach to Spring, Texas. En route, they'll stop to work at Santa Teresa, New Mexico, San Antonio, and Houston, Texas. This area is single track between Shawmut and Gila Bend, I'd guess because of the twists and turns here through the desert. We were able to catch one more train before we had to head out for the day. UP 2657 leads the MWCBS, a mixed manifest freight train out of West Colton, California to Big Spring, Texas, and would stop on its route at Tucson to perform some work. The next afternoon, my aunt got me out again as we roamed around Phoenix to see what we could find on the rails. Of course, this is all new territory to me, so I had no idea what to expect. We found UP's Phoenix Yard with a mainline train that seemed to be tied down. There was a clear signal lit up though, so we waited a little bit, finding out it was only a pair of light engines coming out of the yard, I believe to be heading to Tempe. then drove all around town trying to find something else on the move. We made our way over to BNSF trackage, seeing a yard switcher with a pair of ex-Burlington Northern SD40-2s. They didn't look like they would be coming any further out of the yard, so we drove up towards Glendale, finding the intermodal ramp. They seemed to make a lot of movements in this area, making for quite the traffic congestion. There was a train blocking the crossing as we continued driving west on Grand Avenue. We then ran into a BNSF Z train coming off of the Phoenix subdivision. We turned around, making the best of it, trying to find a spot. Shooting over a fence in Glendale was the only option. We went back to that busy road crossing at the intermodal ramp, seeing a train being inspected for departure, I think. They had an EOT on it, that's for sure. We also heard a local clearing a track warrant off of the Phoenix sub behind the Z train heading back to the rail yard. It was BNSF 2866 West with what looked like to be a road local. Interesting to note that the 2866 wasn't leading, but that's what they called out on the radio. I was ready for the train this time. This road crossing at Bethany Home Road is pretty interesting. There are 5 different signal masses, but only 3 of them have gates, and the signal on the left in the median has what's called a hinged gate. Since the signal is under the highway overpass, the gate is practically folded to fit under the bridge. At the same time, be long enough to block the entire crossing. Watch as the gates go up as it folds back. We made our way back into downtown Phoenix, finding the old Amtrak Union Station that closed down in June of 1996. Built in 1923 through the corporation of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway, it was served by the Sunset Limited connecting from Los Angeles to New Orleans, and the Texas Eagle connecting from Los Angeles to Chicago. The building today is owned by Sprint Communications since 2004. The depot was added to the National Register of Historic Places on November 25, 1985, still standing today. We made one last round at UP's Phoenix Yard, but we weren't able to find anything else on the move. One thing we did find, though, was the Valley Metro light rail, as we followed them all the way to Tempe. You may remember back in July 2020, the UP Railroad trestle over the Tempe Town Lake caught on fire, caused by a freight train derailment and partial bridge collapse. At approximately 6:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, a 102-car-long freight train derailed on the bridge. 8 to 10 rail cars caught on fire and the south side of the bridge collapsed. 3 of those cars ended up on the ground under the bridge. Luckily, no one was hurt in the incident, and no hazardous liquids affected the lake. The cause of the incident is still unknown. I've left a few links in the description below to see more about the fire. 6 months later, things are back to normal, and hopefully an event like this will never be repeated again. You can see the portion of the bridge that was repaired from the fires as we come into Tempe. We stop at the Tempe Rail Depot where we see the light rail sharing a grade crossing with the UP Phoenix subdivision. The Metro Rail trains pass by here about every 5 to 10 minutes. The depot here in Tempe was built by the Southern Pacific Railway in 1924. This was also served by both the Amtrak Sunset Limited and the Texas Eagle. In 1987, it was bought by the city and converted into a Mexican restaurant, but is now permanently closed. This ends my time trackside in the Phoenix metro area. If you liked today's video, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, hit that notification bell, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. See y'all next time from Tempe, Arizona, along the Phoenix Metro light rail system. Hey, it's something on the rails.